Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. We are going to talk about Gloomhaven. A week ago we had a live stream where we talked for a couple of hours about Gloomhaven, so I figured I would do something a little more condensed for anyone who doesn't have a couple of hours to spend whether deciding whether Gloomhaven is for them or not. This video is not going to be a how to play the game. There are tons of them and some really good ones. I don't think I can do better. It's not even a review video. I'm not going to tell you that you should play or shouldn't play it. I'm just going to tell you the good, the bad, ways to fix the bad or alleviate the issues, and let you, make up your mind. That's the idea. So, without further ado, let's start about the good. The first thing is what I call the RPG experience. Especially if you've played a lot of video games and you like, those games where you have a class, a race, unique skills to your characters, you level up, you have a quest, you have a main quest. That's the same thing. You have side quest, you have new gear, you get better at something, you create your build for your character. That's what I call the RPG experience. You got that. You got that in Gloomhaven. If you like it in video games, chances are you're going to love it there as well. Oh, I keep mentioning video games. I am new to the hobby of board gaming, and Gloomhaven feels very much to me like a video game on a table. That's why I keep comparing the two. Right. Second thing that I really enjoyed is the writing, essentially. Do I have an example? Yes. You do get in your scenario book, you do get, and also we can see it there, the description of your character, your races, the introduction to the scenario, the road events you have when traveling to your scenario, the city events that you have when you come back to the city. You got a description, you have options, and then you see what happens. All of these are really nicely written. That's something that I really enjoy in video games, and not so surprisingly, I also appreciate it very much in a board game. The next aspect, I'm going quickly over the good because I feel that they might be kind of obvious and people will have already mentioned all of those. I'm also a big fan of the artwork. I'll remove those in the slide. Not there in the slideshow. There's already some of the character art, some monster art. I understand that artwork is subjective. Um, I think it's very gorgeous, and even if you don't like the style, you can tell that it's quality. Something that I really appreciate, especially concerning the classes and the races. We are in a fantasy setting, and there's been tons of fantasy settings. This one manages to have brand new races that feel interesting, classes that also feel interesting. Like it's all very engaging. That's what it is. So between the quality writing and the visuals, it's extremely engaging. Now the meat of the game is the combat, the strategic combat. Again, to describe that, I would say that it's the equivalent of a tactical turn-based RPG. So if you've played things like Baldur's Gate, or maybe more recently, Divinity Original Sin, even Heroes of Might and Magic, that sort of things with, hexes and you move your characters. If you like that, you get loads of that in Gloomhaven. Now, the strategy, really, when you come down to it, let's see, grab, there we go. Your character has cards, and the cards are gonna be your movements, your attack, your defense, your skill, as well as your stamina, which I find really quite smart. And in your turn, you really do just two things. You have a hand of cards. So my mental rat, sorry, my mind thief. The mental rat starts with 10 cards, for example. Other classes have fewer. A few more have more. Surprise. And essentially, you have your hand of cards, and you go, yeah, I'm going to play these two cards. And what I really want to do is I'm gonna stun the enemies that are next to me, then get the heck out of there and go and attack that smaller enemy that is more my size, and I have a chance to survive, and I will trigger the special ability of mine. Neat. The numbers are also important as your initiative for, turns, very much like D&D. But then you're not the only one playing, right? So it could be that someone else moves or an enemy moves before you, and you have to rethink your plan, and you go, oh, crap. No, okay. Somebody, I don't know, somebody has just used frost magic, and there's now frost in the air. If I use this attack, I'm gonna get some sweet XP, which is nice. And my attack will be stronger. So you can sort of switch gears based on what's happening, which I think is really, really cool. And then you have items that can enhance things, prevent other things. Very neat. I did mention that the cards are your stamina. Essentially, you play your cards, and once you've played them, they get either discarded, meaning that when your character rests, you can take them back. You have to put one out, but you take most of them back. However, some cards, or some abilities rather, are particularly powerful and sweet, and then your card is, they call it burnt. It's just out of the game, of the scenario, I should say. Meaning that if you come out all guns blazing and you go, yeah, overkill, first turn, you're not gonna last very long. So really, there's a lot of strategy. That's something you enjoy. Let me push that away. That's something you enjoy. You're gonna get lots of it. Away, I said. There. That's the meat of the game. If you go, oh, no, I don't like that game. I want real time. I want big things happening. This is probably not the game for you. Something that I really, really love about Gloomhaven is what I call the ladders. Now let me explain. There are many things where you can progress. So you get experience. When you experience, you get a level up. You get gold. When you get gold, you can get new items. But also you have character perks. Sorry, I shouldn't have dismissed you. Sorry, mental rat. You have perks that you get when you level up, but also when you manage certain tasks during the scenario. And those perks, well, you get to choose a perk. Mostly, they're going to allow you to edit your modifier deck, get rid of the nasty -1 and -2, and replace them with something a little more interesting that will make your character better at doing whatever it is it does. What else do you have? What else do you have? Oh, your cards, your skill cards can be improved, can be enchanted. You can get new items as well. You have, whenever you start a scenario, you have a specific gold. It could be something like open a door, pick up 5 gold, pick up a chest, do not pick up any money, finish with less than half of your hit points, or finish completely healed up. There's all kinds of things, and if you succeed that for this scenario, you get a tick, and then you can choose a perk, which is nice. But that's not all. You also get, where's mine? You also get a personal quest. This is the one for my rat, and my rat wants to learn about poison, which I thought was quite fitting. And if I do that, so here I have to go and kill some ooze. I'm sorry, it's quite small to read. But at the same time, I don't know that I want to spoil it for you, because this is part of the story. This is part of your character. Once you complete that goal, this is something that's going to take a long time. You unlock a character. But then, of course, as you progress, you unlock the next quest in the main quest. You unlock side quests. You unlock locations. You unlock new characters by completing personal quests. You unlock shop items by increasing your city prosperity or getting certain chests in certain scenarios. So you have all those ladders that you climb, which means that anytime you play, you're going to go up a little bit on a couple of ladders, guaranteed, even if you fail the scenario, which is very nice. Like you fail the scenario, but you can still go, okay, what did we get? So it's not too depressing, I guess. I talked about the characters. That brings me to my next point, the stickers, and most importantly, the envelopes. The box, I'm sure you've seen pictures, but the box, do I have some here? Should have some here. The box comes with that big map. Mine is on the wall over there. Comes with that big map, and as you unlock new locations, you get to put a sticker on it. And I know it's incredibly childish, and yet it feels so good. It feels so good. That's an example of the stickers for the locations, the one that you put on your cards to make them better, and the character envelopes. You start with 6 of them and you can open them, but then the rest of them are sealed. You're not allowed to open them like that. And it's so joyful when you finally achieve it. It really feels like an achievement. This is my favorite and my least favorite. Open this envelope when you feel you deserve it. What? I don't know what's in there. I don't know, but one day I'm gonna feel I deserve it, and that day is gonna be a very special day in my Gloomhaven adventures. So if that's something that you think you might enjoy, for me, it just brings me back to childhood, where you had this album and you would put those stickers in there, or sort of surprise bags, and you don't know what's in it, but then you can open it. Okay, it's Christmas time. Like, finally, I can open those boxes and see what's in there. So yeah. That also leads me to the next point, and by now you've gathered that it's the sheer amount of things, like the content, the quantity of stuff. Like, you already know that when, oh, come here, and I go, oh, like it's really heavy, it's just the lid. But you can see that box, and it's bigger than my head. Not that I have a big head, but the box is massive, and when you open it, it's filled to the rim. So you have lots of stuff in there, but in terms of gameplay or game hours, really, well, let's do some simple math. A single scenario would take a couple of hours. There's almost 100. I don't want to lie to you, so that's the beginning of the book. 90 something, 92, 95. There's 95 of them, so we're close to 200 hours, and that's not taking into account when you level up, when you decide which card you want to use, when you decide which item you're gonna buy. Are you buying one, or should you save the money for an enchantment? And you discuss with your party, what do we do now? Do we go there for the main quest? Oh no, hang on. I would rather go here. Looks like a place with skeletons, and it's kind of my quest to kill them. A few hours. That's a few hours of gameplay in the box. There's tons. And this book right here that I've shown you briefly, it's the book with all the scenarios. And you see, there's a lot. There's quite a lot to keep you going in there. Right? That was all the good stuff. Shall we go to the yes but kind of things? The first one comes with the sheer size of the game, and it is storage. Gloomhaven is one of those games, you open it, and you have this cardboard, and you just push out the pieces, the tokens and everything, and you get the map, and you get the thing and the stuff, and then you just can't put it back in the box, unless it's like you just throw it in there and it's a terrible mess, and you don't want that. So you're definitely gonna want to come up with a storage option. This is not quite storage, but it goes with saving space as well. We have a few examples there. I went with, honestly, a pricey option. I don't know that I would go again for it, but we ordered some inserts, and they're foam, they're kind of light, they fit perfectly in the box, so we managed to have everything in the box. I need to talk to my cat, I think. He may have chewed on void spirit or a ghost or something. I forgot their name. So inserts are really good, quite pricey. Something that is not as pricey, this is DIY. Somebody made that, which is neat. make it yourself. If you're handy, if you're creative, go for it. You could buy something like that from a DIY store or, you know, craft store of any kind. I don't have it here, but I bought tiny Tupperwares for 5 francs. Um, and now I buy them for every game. This is it. This is where I put my tokens and stuff. Whatever it is, you're gonna have to come up with a storage solution just to be able to store your game, and that will be very important for when you want to set up your game afterwards. This is not mine, but it's quite a nice idea because you have all those tiles, and they take a lot of space. But then when you take your scenario, let's see one at random, and it says you want these tiles of the map, you want these monsters and these are traps and things. And so you have first, before you even start playing, you're gonna have to go and pick them up and look for them. So storage is going to be crucial. You want to be able to find your things quickly. If at that point you're like, okay, no, I don't want that, there is a plan B for you, and that's the video game, the Gloomhaven video game. We'll talk about it later, but you'll find that it skips all the negative things and some of the good things we mentioned before. Storage, we got it. Together with the storage, you're gonna need time and space just to set your game up. Let me show you some of the tables again. We've seen them. To put your game on the table, you're just gonna need space. You have to put those tiles. You have your player cards and your items and the cards you discard and the cards you burn, your equipment and the one that you flip because you've used them. That's true for every player around the table, but on top of that, you also need to have the monster cards. And the monster cards, they have modifier decks and they take space. Like, it's a nice square like that. There's usually 2, 3, 4 different types of monsters. You need a large table. We didn't have that. They put 2 tables together there. We just didn't have a large table. So we were looking for a way to speed up the setting up. That's your storage. The way you store things is going to change how quickly. Look, Tupperware's like me. Sorry, I get distracted. Storage is going to reduce the time it takes to set up the game and tidy the game. This is Neb's game. 2 tables. You can see he put the tiles in alphabetical order over there, so he can just go and pick them up. It's a way or another that he's got space. Space is great. If you don't have space on the table, there's also a few things you can do. Rather than have your player board like that, you could buy something like this, which is really, really good. Honestly, I don't regret the investment. You put your discarded card here, your burned cards here. You can even equip, where did I put it? You can have your equipment cards there. Once you've used them, you put them here. The money you collect goes here. Your modifier deck is here, nice and easy. Very neat, but that's money, of course. I like it. I'm very happy, especially with the health and experience tracker. That's nicer, I feel, than the original game, but then again, not a game changer, I don't think. We've seen before that much bigger player board, which is cool if you have the space and the money. Really nice as well. That's one way you can save space. The other way we save space is by using an app, and it also helps with the setup. Let me show you both. Now maybe a bit of light there. For all the monster cards and envelopes and everything, I use this app that is free. I'll show you the name in a bit. And when you start the game, you have the monsters. So the name of the monster, the card with the ability they have. Otherwise, you will have to flip those on your table every single time. Modifier deck is here, and you can shuffle it. Once an enemy is dead, it is removed. You can say, well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Their number is 3 and 5. I find that super easy, if only because it saves space, the precious, precious space on the table. The name is Gloomhaven Campaign Tracker, and that one is free. I only use the combat tab, leave, but you have the map, you can track your party as well, party members as well. It does a lot. To make the setup faster, I have this one. This one is free. I'm sorry, the luminosity makes it a bit crappy. Yeah, even without the light. This one is free. I did pay 2 or 3 francs for one option that I really, really like. When you have this, yes, focus, focus. Thank you. It tells you, all right, that's the elements you place, and these are the monsters. And you can see there are different colors around them. And these colors, there's a code, and they tell you if that monster is a regular monster or an elite monster, and that is also based on the number of players. So with a 4-player game, they will all be there. With a 2-player game, it might be just 2 of them. I'm making that up right now. With the app, I said we're 2, and it shows me exactly where the monsters are and which one are elite or not. Another thing that you've just seen right now, when you have the book, you have to go, okay, all right, okay, yeah, we need that, we need this and those tiles there, but don't look at this, because you don't really want halfway the game to get, okay, hang on, let me go get the pieces for the next room. You want to have them ready so that you can quickly place them and continue with your game. So with this app, and that part was completely free, you can reveal the tiles as you progress. You can reveal the story elements as you progress as well. If you can't see it right now, it's text. Yeah, it's text. So I find these 2 apps in particular really, really helpful. And they're both free. That's for the setup. Now, if you don't want to go through all of that, I still have advice for you. Try Jaws of the Lion. Jaws of the Lion plays exactly like Gloomhaven, but the game is more compact, both, you know, in a box and on your table. And it plays exactly the same way. In fact, you can even play with mercenaries from Jaws of the Lion to do the scenarios from Gloomhaven, and the other way around. It's the same sort of gameplay, which is really good because you can play it and then decide you like it and say, okay, let's get Gloomhaven, or decide you've had enough. Another advantage is that Jaws of the Lion is cheaper, like a third of the price. Speaking of the price, Gloomhaven is decidedly expensive. Depending where you are, the price is going to be between $150 and $200, euros, pounds, roughly, give or take. You can find the game secondhand and it's going to be a little cheaper, but the very nature of the game, because you put those stickers on the map, because you do have a few... Where's my character sheet? Yeah, I prepared everything before, but then I pile everything up thinking I'm done with it. There it is. The character sheet comes with 4 or 5 of them. So technically you can play a couple of games with them. But you know, it's a campaign game. Like, you go through it. I know they are stickers instead of the ones from the box that let you stick on your board, on your map, and then remove them so you can sell it again or play the game again. Why not? After 300-400 hours, if you go, let's go again, go nuts, go for it. Miniatures, we'll talk about them later. But anyway, it is expensive. It is expensive. If you compare that with the stuff you get, you do get a lot of stuff. You do get a lot of hours of fun gameplay normally. Again, if you're thinking, well, I'm not sure, I want to pay $150 and then realize that I can't play the game because I don't have space for it, or I just can't stand the strategy of it. Um, Rather than, you know, pay 150 straight away, again, try Jaws of the Lion. Smaller, cheaper. If you love it, then good news. There's a Gloomhaven and Frosthaven to play after that. And if you don't, well, you haven't wasted 150 to 200. Insert currency. So there's that. One thing that might be a little intimidating with Gloomhaven is, because it's a big game, is the amount of rules. Now, the rule book is not tiny. It's maybe not the thickest rule book in the world. There's 51 pages. So yes, that's quite a lot of rules. However, I will say that if you play RPGs, like video games, there are a lot of the concepts that simply you already know. Oh, I have the bleeding status. I know what it is. Oh, I'm in stealth. I know what it does. I do double damage when I come out of it. Yeah, that makes sense. So a lot of the rules are going to, that there's a pillar. I don't have line of sight. Got it. A lot of the rules is something that video gamers will be familiar with. To be fair, there was a little leaflet in the box with a recommended video tutorial that we watched. It wasn't too long, and we were able to play the game immediately after that. Sure, occasionally we go like, oh, I'm not sure. So refer to the icons, or sometimes refer to the rule itself. We've always found our answers, honestly. So yes, there are rules. Like you cannot have the rules. They might be a little intimidating at first, but they're not that bad, I think. If you still think that that's intimidating, again, the video game. Because the video game is going to tell you when a move is illegal, it's going to tell you why, so you don't have to remember all those rules. The game will tell you what you can and what you cannot do. So that simplifies things as well. Okay, let me see. Quite a lot of things. I talked about all those ladders, right? And how exciting it is that you can progress in so many different ways. It's true. I didn't lie to you. I wouldn't. But all these ladders, there's tons of them, but progress is ever so slow. It is. Like you won't, if you play a scenario for 2 hours, even if you win, you're not going to come out, wow, level up, got this new amazing sword, got this bunch of new skills. You're gonna get stuff. You always get something, but you never get a lot. No, you never often get a lot. It's possible, like if, you know, fate. It happens that boom, you level up, and boom, you have enough for your enchantment, and boom, you've unlocked 3 scenario, and the reward was a particularly sweet item. It can happen, but that's not going to be the routine. That's not how it's going to be. So if this sort of grind, and I say grind, I think with video games grind, we think it's like doing the same thing over and over and over again. You don't really do that in Gloomhaven. You will lose some scenario, you will try it once, maybe 3 times, maybe 4 times to win it, but it's not grinding like doing the same mission 500 times until you have 500 items to buy a mount. Just an example that comes up to mind. But if what I'm describing is already too much and too annoying for you, that it's going to annoy you during the game, then maybe it's not the game for you, because it's slow. There's always some progress one way or another, but it's slow. You've been warned. Another thing that is kind of slow is, well, the combat itself and the upkeep. Especially when you play a video game, you go, yeah, you go here, you do that. 1, 2, 3 for my you know, my hotbar, trigger that skill, that skill, that skill, and then you see it all happen and you're done. This is not it. This is turn-based. This is on a board game, and you're going to be very busy while playing, sure, You're going to look at your cards, look at your board, decide what you want to play, which two skills you will try to play together. Maybe if you could grab that chest on the way, your health, should you attack, should you retreat, you do all of that. And then you do the same for monsters. Now you don't decide what they do, sometimes I wish you could, but you're gonna have to flip their card to know which action they're taking. You're gonna have to make them move, you're gonna have to resolve the attack when they attack you. You're gonna have to keep track of their HP, their status, and all of that. So the upkeep, the things you need to keep track of while playing, is quite a lot. How to how to make this bearable if you find that annoying. First solution, that's the free one, but you need to have friends. You need to have a couple of players. Is simply to split the task. You say, all right, in addition to playing my character, obviously you want to play, I will be dealing with the monsters. I will flip their cards, I will move them, I will tell you who they attack, with which power. I got the monsters, I'm taking care of that. Then another player, well, you will be in charge of keeping track of the mana, because the mana, when you cast a fire spell and there's fire in the air, that may influence the skills of other monsters or players. That needs to be tracked. And then the third one could say, all right, okay, when there's a new room, I will place the tile, I will tidy the table and put the tile or add the tile for the new room. By doing that, well, you divide the work and it's not that bad. If it's still something you go, come on, I just want to play, I want to move, attack, kill, win. If that feels like it's too much, you can use the app that I've shown you, the one that handles the monsters. It's not only compact, but it's all in one place. And the other thing, this one we bought standees for the monsters. The original ones are, well, just a single standee like this. We bought these off of Amazon or Etsy, I don't remember. And I love the fact that you can track their HP right there on the board, and you can add statuses as well. The reason why I like that is because typically you have your tiles with your dungeon in front of you, and you see the monsters, skeleton 1, skeleton 2, skeleton 5, and then you need to look at the monster cards to go, oh right, monster 1, 3 damage, currently poison, that's, oh, this one here. I love the fact that it's right here on my board, like here on my board, and I know exactly, you know, how nearly dead the monster is or how dangerous it is. And that really makes things easier to come up with a strategy. There are different types of standees. I think I did get a picture here. Those are the monster cards there. That's another type of standee that I've seen. This one might even be homemade actually. And you use dice to keep track of the HP, which is fine as well. If even with standees and apps and friends to share the load, you're still like, no, too much, I don't like that, I have the solution for you. The video game. The video game, you only select your card, decide which card you play and how, attacking which monster, and then the monsters will come and attack you without you having to do anything. So that's a solution. I mentioned before that you're gonna lose. It's a co-op game, so you never lose to the people playing with you, but the game will kick your butt. It simply will. If that's something you don't like, you have solutions. First of all, the game comes with difficulties that you can choose. When you see the monsters one on the, the monster card 1, 2, 3, 4 around. You would actually, based on your level, you will slide that in the envelope and see the stats of your enemy for level 1, 2, 3, or 4. So you can reduce the difficulty there. And if that's still too challenging and frustrating, you can house rule it. You can decide that from your modifier deck, you remove the dreaded critical failure, When you draw this card, it means you failed. That's it. That's it. No do-over, which is incredibly frustrating. You go, okay, I'm going to use my potion of power. You can use it only once, unless you do a long rest, which is a whole thing. You can use it only once, but I'm going to use my potion of power. I'm going to use my super... That's not one. I'm going to use my super attack that I can use only once. And right now, one of my companions has managed to bless me somehow. And you pull your modifier and it says critical failure. And you're like... Which is fun. You know, you love, hate it. If you just hate it, just decide to remove it. And that's it. That will make the game a little easier and mostly not difficult. I'm looking if I have a bless card. I don't have one in my deck, but another way to make the game a little easier and be is to add some of the blessing cards that multiply your damage by 2. That's nice. You could decide that the value of the gold you pick up in a scenario depends on the difficulty. You could say, well, you know what, 1 gold that you collect is worth 4 gold. Like you can make yourself richer faster. You could. That's house rule. That's perfectly fine. And you know how I keep saying the video game will solve your problems? Not if you find the game too challenging, because the video game you can say hard, easy, difficult. But when you play on easy and you're losing, then the only solution is to get good. You can't house rule that. Not happening. That being said, let's talk a little bit about the board game. Not the board game, sorry, the video game. I am not going to start it now because you will be able to see all kinds of things about it. I'll put that away. The video game will make it less frustrating to play. It does all of that. But obviously it's not a board game. Duh, right? So if you like the title and go, okay, this one is down to 4 and it's poisoned, and you can't say it, and you put the little status token there, and you pick up the gold, and you get the chest, and then you look at the scenario book, it's chest number 24. What did I get? The game will tell you, the video game will tell you that in an instant. You don't have the same tactile feeling. That being said, the video game is going to have all kinds of cool animation when you summon things, when you kill things, when you do some attacks. Something really, really nice. You have the intro to the scenario. You have a cutscene. There, you have cutscenes that you don't have in a board game. I mean, you read them. It's not quite the same thing. I will say that the board game... Oh, crap. The video game plays a lot faster than the board game because you don't have to do the upkeep, you don't have to set it up, yada-da-da-da-da. However, if you are used to video games like turn-based RPGs, you might find that the video game is a little slow because you select a card, you confirm, you select the top skill of the card, you click attack, you confirm your target, and you go, and it's faster than the board game but slower than video games, I feel. So there you have it. That's for the video game. I did mention the cutscenes. Now, if you'd like to make things a little more immersive during your gameplay, something easy and cheap and free, in fact, is to go on YouTube, go D&D, I don't know, you're going in a tomb, D&D ambience tomb, and you play that, and you're gonna have, you know, the moaning and the ghost and the wind. You're gonna have the ambience that goes with the dungeon, which is really, really cool. If you want to take that take that. I haven't had coffee. If you want to take that a step further, there is an app. Now this one you pay for. There is an app called Foreteller. It looks, let's put that upright. It looks kind of like this because that poor green character is half destroyed, and it reads to you the scenario, and you have the sound and the doors creaking and the swords clashing, you know, that sort of thing. Also a very nice addition. And that brings me to the very last thing that comes with Gloomhaven, if you want it, and that is the minis and the painting. This is a whole hobby within the board game. The do I have mine? No, the minis come in gray, like gray plastic. They're very nice like that. They're very nice, very detailed, but you can paint them, and you have a few examples there. You can paint them. That's a hobby in itself. If you want them painted but don't want to paint it, you could pay people to do that. There's quite a few, I think, on Etsy, and I'm sure there are other places. You can have, instead of having those cardboard traps and furniture, you could have them in 3D and then paint them again, and that brings your game to a whole new level. In fact, you know, a third dimension level, doesn't it? That when I see them painted, I'm like, ah, yeah, that's nice. I really would like that. I think these are Jaws of the Lion minis. This one is Gloomhaven. So that's another way to take your game to a whole new level, assuming you have time, money, and minimum talent. And then finally, obviously, if you really like Gloomhaven and you want more, there are solo scenarios, there are extra campaigns you can buy. There is, I will find the link again. You can get more. You can get more for Gloomhaven, and if you want even more, there is Frosthaven as well. And I think that we've come to it. That's 40 minutes. I wanted to make it a short version of the live stream. It is shorter than the live stream, but it's still quite long, and I've been trying to speak so quickly. Oh well, I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee and relax after that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope some of this was helpful to you to decide whether you wanted to play that game or how you could make that game more enjoyable for you if you find that you don't bring it to the table nearly as often as you'd like. And I'd love to hear what you think of the game. If you've played another game that you enjoy as much for similar reasons, just let me know. Until then, have a good time, and I'll see you soon. Bye.